Hey guys, Jess here from Knockout Print Shop, and the time has come for a 2021 goal setting. So I wanted to kind of walk you through the process that I went through to get ready for 2021. I don't have everything mapped out to the most nuanced detail, but I did do my goal setting exercises. So I have my Makse Life and my Inkwell press. I did go through the goal setting process in the Makse and then kind of transferred some of that over to my Inkwell press. I just wanted to show you a comparison and how you can use the Makse system within the Inkwell if you are an Inkwell planner and don't have an interest in going into the Makse planner. Also, she does have the companion notebooks if you want to fully use the Makse Life system in an Inkwell or a different planner. I will have the link to my affiliate link below for that. I have to be honest, I'm not 100% sure what planner I'm going to kind of like dedicate to this year. Last year was my Makse. I do really miss my disc planner. I have ordered cloth and paper inserts, but we'll talk about all of that in a different video. So let me walk you through how this process went for me. So we will start with the Makse. And I actually, of course, in true Jess style, forgot one tool I was going to show you. So the first thing I did was go through and did my Makse Life assessment questionnaire system thing again, the same thing that I did last year. And I actually which I guess I can show you in here. This is my this year planner. So I did have, as I was kind of going through this, and once I answered for the new year, 2021, I did glance back at the scores that I gave myself for the previous year. And then I noted with an arrow if that went up or down from the previous year. I also did what I did last year, and I sat with Matt and asked, read these phrases aloud and told him to score me so I could kind of see. Because sometimes I feel like when I do this myself, it's very interesting and I think informative for me to get somebody else's perspective and how they understand these questions or these statements in relation to me. And if I was kind of being too generous or being too hard on myself in any of these statements. So that was helpful as well. It just kind of gives you a little bit of a reality check if you have someone you trust that knows you, that you can kind of have them participate in this with you as well. So I went through this whole process, and I did highlight a few things in each category that to me stood out as a significant things that either went up or need attention. So I don't know, just like things that stuck out to me in various areas. So that's what the highlighting is, just as a way for me to reference back when I was goal setting, like what were the things that, again, I either felt like I improved on and want to continue improving on, or things, like I said, that need a little more attention. So I did this and was really happy that all of my scores pretty much went up, or at minimum stayed the same. And a lot of that is because of a few things. So this video is probably gonna be a little bit long because I want to talk about my goal setting process as well as my experience of kind of using the Makse Life system and just my goal setting in general this year. So most of my scores went up because of two things. One was we hit our big goal last year of purchasing our house and starting our homestead. And that was the catalyst that kind of unlocked kind of me being able to really improve a variety of areas. So once we got our house, that took care of a lot of my personal goals: gardening, starting a homestead, being self-sufficient, learning homestead skills. This whole category got a huge boost as soon as we had the opportunity for me to start to do those things, which also boosted fun and recreation. We still suck at taking time off and things like that, but I got a lot of joy and just kind of a sense of accomplishment and meeting people. This got a boost from that. Work in Luna. So the other thing that happened was as you know, I've talked about in a few videos, I have been doing some contract gig work with a marketing company this past year, and that really boosted my work score because it gave me some new things to learn. It gave me coworkers. It made me feel like I had valuable work. I've been learning a lot. It's really helping me understand what my skill set is and my strengths and things like that. So that area got a huge boost from that. I'm trying to think what else. And honestly, my financial score was not poor last year, but I do feel like since we got our home, a lot of the savings we had been doing finally got to be materialized, I guess, into the house and the different things we've had to buy. I feel for some reason that my relationship with money, and I'm not as worried. I feel like a better understanding of like my views on spending, saving, and investing, things like that. So that was a long-winded explanation, but essentially a few things that happened in 2020 allowed me to have big boosts in these scores that then it just kind of represents the idea that if you have one thing that you really focus on and you achieve, that our lives aren't like in these perfect little compartments, so that if you can get one thing, a lot of times that releases the ability and the potential and your success, happiness in other areas. Because again, life has all these areas are interconnected. So when one thing goes up, likely you'll feel other ones go up. Like if you improve your health, you may see also an improvement in finances or in happiness or something like that. So you can always, I just find that while we're kind of compartmentalizing our life into these areas, at the end of the day, everything tends to bleed over into each other, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Just ramble, first ramble of the video. So I went through this process, I looked at the previous year's score, just got a sense of where I was, where I improved, where I still need some work. And that was step one for me. The other thing I had been doing prior to taking this assessment is I whipped out my Inkwell and just used some scratch paper in the back of my planner and started just like, this was like my business page, and writing down some ideas, things I wanted to work on for the next year. I was just like kind of brain dumping stuff about like projects, like workflows and, budget categories, like planner prep in different areas, things I needed to focus on, brain dumping goals, what my top areas were. Matt and I then went a couple days ago to sit down and have a kind of like coffee date goal meeting, and we just brainstormed things we wanted to do, like home projects and goals, homestead stuff, fun stuff, financial stuff, just to make sure we were on the same page. And this just became some brain dumping as well before I dove into this. Then the next thing I did was go through this intentions page here. This page for me wasn't super I don't know, it's one of those pages that I used and then I never really thought about again. But then as I reflected back to last year's version of this page, because I found it helpful to have my previous year's planner out to kind of see where I was, to guide some of my answers and see where I'd shifted in this past year. So there was some overlap in what I want this year versus what I wanted last year. Last year we were still living in the apartment. I felt very isolated, had no sense of connection and community. We had moved, 3 times in the past couple of years. At that time, at the beginning of last year, I wanted to have like a platform to express my voice and ideas, and I felt like I needed direction and roots and things like that. And again, those were all things that I needed. Now this year, since we got the house, we're planning roots, we're already making friends, we have a sense of community connection. With some work stuff, I feel a better sense of purpose and direction. So again, you don't need a lot of different things to change. Sometimes you need 1 or 2 things to change, then that'll be like the domino effect of other things unfolding. Some of this stuff, like what could you use less of in my life this year? Last year I put things like noise, confusion, isolation. I think I was just in this weird space. We didn't know what was happening, where we ended up living. I felt like there was just a lot of different ideas in my head and I didn't feel very clear, and there was fears and doubt. And again, feeling like I took some action this year and we had some success with the house, with experimenting with some of these goals. I think I got a lot of clarity. So this year I feel like the things I want less of in my life is worry. I'm a worry wart. That's something I'm going to work on probably the rest of my life. But I feel like it's getting better. Wasted time. I feel like I'm very productive and good with time management. I do find there's these little windows there where I kind of aimlessly feel like I'm wasting my time. So what I think I need to do there, because I think wasted time sometimes can be, sometimes that's a reality. Like I'm legit wasting time, like aimlessly scrolling. And sometimes I'm sitting there and I think it's wasted time when I should really just be thinking and using that time as thinking and note taking. So I need to kind of think about that a little bit. Less screen time. I've gotten back into a bad habit of just aimlessly scrolling. Partly it's because I'm trying to learn. I follow a lot of farms. That's kind of like my hobby / life / vision for my future. So I spend a lot of time on social, connecting with farmers and learning about farming stuff. What habits, or sorry, let's see. What characteristics did I want to nurture last year was speaking, coaching, decisiveness, honesty, intelligence, creativity. I was in this space last year where I felt like I wanted to speak, I wanted to share. I thought the coaching direction was where I wanted to go, and I did that in the beginning of the year. I do have a handful of coaching clients, which I enjoy, but I've realized over the past year that that piece is not something that feels as compelling to me anymore. So I'm shifting, and I'll talk more about that here in a minute. But this year, my focus really is self-sufficiency, wisdom, and patience. And again, this all goes back to the homestead and becoming more, going back to the land and my roots and slowing down and building that simple, self-sufficient life, realizing I need patience to build wisdom and understanding animals and this whole process and knowing these things. So I'm like in this new chapter. Last year, I didn't even write down 3 habits I wanted to cultivate, but this year I really want to cultivate reading, and like I said, that thinking time. I do a lot of thinking, but I feel that it may be more useful if I dump stuff down in notebooks. And then learning. I just want to learn homesteading skills, business skills, things like that. Last year, I wanted to be more outgoing, helpful, and action-oriented, and I think all of those things I did. And again, I never referred back to this page at all last year. But I think sometimes it's one of those things, you get this stuff on paper, and as long as your actions that you set during the year align with these things, you may find when you come back at the end of the year to look at it that you're like, holy crap, I actually did improve on these things. So this year it's self-sufficiency, like I keep talking about, and confidence in my skills. What I've realized in the work I've been doing lately is that sometimes you don't realize how much you know until you start connecting with other people and working with other people, and I realized that I want to just foster the confidence in my skills, and with business and marketing and project management, things like that, that I can take a lot of the stuff that I didn't realize I had that was in this life coaching, fitness coaching realm, and it also applies to business because I've owned a couple of businesses and done a lot of different things. Okay. Last year I wanted to do less worrying and figuring out and planning and take more action, and I did that this year, and now all I put was aimlessly scrolling. I'm really in this action mode. There's a lot going on in our life with the homestead and the businesses and work and different ideas. The giving myself grace thing, I didn't fill it in this year or last year. Last year I said what I'll let go of is doing things that don't work for me. I kept trying to, force things like, I have to meditate, I have to do these things. And I tried them and it just didn't work for me. And I'm like, move on, don't need it. So this year right now I'm at a space where I don't think there's anything at this point on the top of my mind that I need to let go of. And then I just will embrace learning as I go. Sometimes I get caught in this habit of analysis paralysis, right? Just researching. I have to have all the information before I take a step. And I'm realizing I need to research and make smart decisions is the best decision I can, but then I also need to just bite the freaking bullet and take an action, when it comes to getting these animals and doing homestead stuff and business stuff and whatever. Okay. Word of the year last year was freedom. And this to me just meant getting this home and having the freedom to be in nature, build our own house, not build our actual house, but homestead thing, expressing myself, things like that. And this year, it's more about sow and grow, and just growth, growing our business, growing my skill set, growing our homestead. A lot of it has to do with sowing these seeds, planting these roots, growing, and okay. Guys, we're 13 minutes in, and we're on to page number 2. Okay, so let's see. What was the next part of my process? So the next thing I did was I do like this sheet. You've seen me if you watch other goal videos I did this past year, particularly around Q3. I did refer to this sheet, so I'm really excited she put this in the planner. And I just kind of scanned through it and highlighted things that were meaningful to me or relevant, that maybe needed attention, again, and or I felt resonated with me in each of these categories. And this just helped me kind of create a focus or an intention for my goals, or what part of each of those areas was important to me. For example, with personal, self-care, self-love, self-worth, that stuff isn't really on my mind. I don't feel like that's an area for me that needs work. But what does need work is my hobbies, projects, sense of community. So this to me is my homestead. This is all homestead stuff because this embodies all of that. Lifestyle stuff. Another example, let's see, would be financial. Okay, so not insurance, financial planning, sinking funds, those things are all taken care of. But what I want this year is like, I want to work on increasing my income. I want to do focused spending towards different areas of our homestead. We have to do some tax stuff, and I just wanted to rework the budget. So again, I was just kind of like figuring out which one of these things I'm like are relevant to me. So that kind of was where I used that page for. And then this page clearly isn't pretty. It is just brain dump. I kind of did the same thing I did in this note page of the Inkwell. I tried to pick the top 2 to 3 areas that I wanted to focus on, and then just kind of made these lists of things that came to my mind in a few areas of things that I want to do, work on, whatever. Last year I did this big brain dump where then I went in and I highlighted things based on the category they were in. But this year I feel like I don't need to do that because my life is a lot more, I was going to say established. That's not the word I'm looking for. It's a lot, well, maybe that is what it is. It's a lot more, I guess I'm more firmly planted. I don't feel as scattered. I feel a little bit more clear and focused. So I know I have a better sense of what areas need attention and what are just kind of like either just have to do their projects that need to get done or which ones are on maintenance mode. So my main focus this year is essentially going to be work. I'd like to get more contract gig work. I really enjoy that. Building and growing, continuing to grow the print shop and finding ways to be better at marketing and being more strategic and offering better products and creating the best customer service we can, just kind of all this business stuff. And the second one would be the homestead, which kind of embodies personal, embodies environment, and embodies social and fun and all of that stuff. And so those are like the main 2, and everything else just kind of like will still get attention, but doesn't need this like huge action plan. So this looks a lot different than my process last year. It's a lot more succinct and concise. That's the word I'm looking for. So that was kind of like the next phase. Then, like I said, Matt and I met and we talked about a bunch of things. And then I went in and I filled in the focus for each of the 8 areas. And this essentially to me became like the intention statement. And then I just highlighted it. So for me, personal is grow the homestead. So my focus in my personal area has everything that's to do with growing our homestead. For fun and recreation, my focus is work, rest, balance, just finding time for fun and recreation. And I'll go dive into that a bit more. Work and learning, which is kind of explore new opportunities. Family and relationships, build community and connections. Health, you can see there's not much going on here. Maintain health. This is an area of life that I have pretty darn automated and don't need to really give much attention to because it's on autopilot. Personal and spiritual growth right now just says invest time in growth. Financial is invest in homestead, and then physical environment is make our house a home. So let me kind of back up really quick and explain this piece. And I need to watch my timer so that I know that I'm not talking when the thing is not recording, because this is probably gonna be longer than 30 minutes. We're at 18. Okay, so you could see this has a crap ton of goals and this one has a crap ton of goals and the rest of them are pretty lean and this guy's got a crap ton of goals. So it basically mirrors what I said, where my attention is, and shows why different things, I mean, you can't have like 17, in my opinion, 17 goals in every single category. You'll just like lose your mind unless you're somehow on autopilot with all of these things and you have routines and automations down so that they're more effortless, right? Okay, so I have a bunch of different things here in personal, which is everything to do with our homestead, from fixing our barn to adding animals to the homestead to learning things to gardening. All of this is the humongous part of my life, and it's going to has been taking and will continue to take a lot of my time and mental energy. Fun and recreation is really about us for once in our life actually taking more intentional scheduled time off. Doesn't mean we need to like close the shop, but maybe we take a 3 or 4 day weekend off of working, and not just, Matt and I are like work. We have all these things to do, we're just kind of workaholics. So we decided once a quarter, we're going to take a 3 to 4 day weekend. Doesn't mean we have to go anywhere. We have animals. We can't go on vacations. We don't have a farm sitter yet. So that could be a staycation. That could be like going a couple hours away to go see a waterfall or take a hike, but just doing things where we don't work once a quarter for 3 to 4 days, long weekends. The other thing we'll do is some local exploring. There's a few places Matt and I want to visit again, like places we haven't been near us, like Chattanooga and Knoxville. Go back to the Smoky Mountains. Matt likes to go to waterfalls and hikes. So we want to do some local exploring. That doesn't mean it has to be within those 3 to 4 day weekends once a quarter. This could happen on a weekend. It can happen once a month. Some of these can be more extensive and some can be smaller. They don't even have to cost anything. But doing more local exploring on a regular basis so that we can balance all of like our homestead and our work stuff with some fun and rest and just, chill time. Which chill time to us is like going outside and seeing stuff and exploring. So that's kind of where that is, because I said we don't really do vacations and now we really can't travel because we have animals and we don't have a farm sitter as of yet. Okay. All right. Now work, I wrote my intention as explore new opportunities because the way I'm looking at this is I feel like, again, kind of like with the homestead, I'm in a new chapter with work. There's continues to be the focus, obviously. This bottom section is knockout print shop, increasing our revenue, improving how I'm doing analytics and reporting and being more strategic and updating emails and auditing our website and just improving various areas of the business and finding new opportunities and new ways to do that. So that's kind of where that phrase fits here. And then the other part is, again, doing more of this gig or contract work. After a lot of conversation with Matt, one thing I finally have realized is that there's only so much mental capacity that I have to continue to, what am I talking about? Continue the like small business hustle, right? I had my gym. Before that, I had different variations of my gym. I've had coaching and online coaching, and we have the print shop and, different things. And I did the minimal strength training program last year. And a lot of that has been like that like small business startup hustle piece. And I'm realizing one of the things I truly enjoy about doing like gig contract work is you get the flexibility of being self-employed without essentially the burden of owning a business, right? If you own a business, there's a lot of sacrifices you make. It's a roller coaster. There's a lot of parts of owning a business that are really tough. And trying to do all of that and put all that kind of roller coaster emotion into the print shop and to start another thing, whether it be coaching or some other venture. What I've realized is I think I'm at a phase in my life where I'm realizing how much energy I have to go in each area and how much my stress levels are, my threshold in different things. And with this whole homesteading piece taking up a new amount of mental energy and us continuing to hustle, I hate that word, but for lack of a better word, the small business hustle with Knockout Print Shop, I think my efforts are better put towards looking for new opportunities with contract and gig work, growing my skill set, doing things like that where I can still bring in some income that helps us financially, and then with the homestead without having to kind of build a business yet again. Now we'll see how long this lasts because I like starting businesses, but my goal is to kind of help other business owners, project management, marketing, content stuff, like things that I've experienced with I've basically been self-employed my whole entire adult life. I've had a full-time job once for 9 weeks, and then I was self-employed every other day of my life since then. So that was a big long explanation for that, but just kind of saying this is what this dividing line is here. I'll probably put like Knockout Print Shop and then like other or something here, but that's kind of what I've realized through this reflection process is, really, 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 really how much being mindful of the energy levels. If you have like 100 and you put like 50 here and 50 here, you can't also put 50 here. So you have to realize that some things have to give and take, and where your energy, how much energy you have for things, and where your mind and your heart or your gut is at. And anyways, I could talk about this. I'm going to shut up because this is not where this is going, and now I'm just doing like rambling musings by Jess. You get the point. Okay, we're moving on. Family and relationship. I put build communities and connections, as I said. So I have pretty great relationships with family, and one area that's been struggling over the past few years that we moved is social, and I knew once we planted roots that would change, and it already has. We've only been here for 6 months. So Matt and I just continue with our weekly dates, which we do religiously once a week, and just continue seeking out and building friendships. I didn't want to nail this down as a certain kind of like SMART goal, because this is just kind of an evolving process, but just making sure I'm always making an effort to connect with local people that have similar interests, and even if they're not local, maybe online, and homesteaders and farmers and small businesses. And we have a small town vibe out here, and it's people are freaking amazingly friendly and awesome. So we've already made some friends, and that's great. So we'll continue doing that so we can feel like we have a community here. Okay, that makes sense. We're moving on. Like I talked about health, I don't really need to do anything there. Personal growth and spirituality, what I realized this year is I don't need to do anything seriously intense with this area of life. I do my daily daily highlight. I do my weekly reflection here in this planner. What is kind of like, I guess, spiritual for me is being in nature, and I get to walk out my door and do that now. But the one thing I want to, I think, finally nail down this year is to become a reader. I put reading on my list every year, and I go through these stints where I'm great with it and then I'm not. So I want to dedicate time to becoming more of an avid reader. So there's that. I clearly don't have, I needed to get Matt to print me another sticker sheet because I'm missing some stickers here, but invest in our homestead. So this year's not going to be about like putting in extra mortgage payments or contributing to our IRA. This next year, I thought this process of investing in the homestead would be a shorter process, but I think we need at least one more year of really getting all the infrastructure and things that we need and livestock. We still need more time to do that, and then once we get that kind of in a more settled position, we'll go back to contributing to our retirement and trying to pay down our mortgage quicker. But in the meantime, there's things we have to spend extra money on now to invest in the homestead, which the goal of that would be to pay. It will have a return in the fact that we'll be more self-sufficient, producing our own food, our eggs, milk, vegetables, things like that. So the goal is to put extra money towards the home and the homestead. And then there's a couple to-dos we need to do that aren't necessarily goals, they're just projects. We need to open new bank accounts, and we have to fix our 2018 taxes. And then last but not least, we have what I call home or physical environment, and that is make our house a home. So now we have this new house and we want to make it ours, whether that's like painting things and hanging up decorations, things like that. But there are a few big ticket items we have to take care of this year. Most likely replacing the HVAC. We do need to update our bathrooms, like to decorate our home and offices, like I said, and improve our garage gym setup. So some of these are big ticket items, so they won't happen all at once, but by the end of the year, we would like to have these things done. Okay, so that is the annual goal setting part. Now, I did not do my vision board. I didn't do this last year here. I did it in a poster board. I don't know that I will do it. Again, we'll see. I'm not a huge vision board person, but they are fun when I have extra time. So we'll see there. I don't want to show you when. We'll go into month 1. So I did, you know what, guys? I'm going to stop the recording and restart it so I get another 30 minutes. So I did go ahead and start setting some goals for month 1, breaking my big goals down into monthly. I just re-put down the same focus that I did, or intention statement, sometimes a little bit abbreviated, from the annual goals. I've not put anything down for personal yet as far as growth the homestead. As we get closer to January, Matt and I will figure out what kind of homestead project will be on the agenda for January. I don't have that set right now. Fun and recreation, I did put that the goal for January is to plan our Q1 weekend off and then take one local adventure. So that could be going to see a waterfall or doing something like that. That we need to be intentional about making time, whether it's 10 minutes away or 2 hours away, to go do something fun. Maybe it's we have a drive-in theater here, so while that's not happening in January, that could be like an idea of something I'm talking about that could be fun. Okay, work and learning. You'll see like 2 different lists here. So I'm going to use the little scallop stickers for like actual goals. And then the right-hand column I'm using for things that are more automated, monthly dashboard to do type of thing. So I have my weekly videos, my reports, and my analytics. That's something I've always put in my planner on my monthly goals, and that's just kind of my checklist of my stuff that has to get done every month. But the new things, or the things I want to accomplish for January that are not part of my regular to-dos, is I want to do one Klaviyo training, which is the email marketing campaign service we use. I want to do one of their free trainings and just learn more about that. And I also want to make a list of my skills and the work I enjoy. So as I figure out where I want to, like what skills I have and what skills I need to build as far as like getting additional like gig work, contract kind of work, that's step one there. So I want to make that list. Family and relationships, right now I just have our usual of weekly dates. I will probably, as we get into January closer to, I may put something here. My friend Heather said she would teach me how to do some canning. My friend Amanda, we want to go see her farm. There's a few things we want to do related to that, but that's not set in stone yet. Health and wellness, this is just a usual. Every month I write a new program, so I went ahead and put that there. Spiritual and personal growth, I wanted to finish one book. This may be a big one, but I'm going, for me, because I'm not reading a lot right now, but that I'm going to try to work on. Financial, again, you can see my usual checklist here, bills, budget, blah, blah, blah. And then over here on the left, we need to open our new bank account, close our old savings account, and I'd have to adjust the print shop budget in YNAB. So those are kind of like goals for the end of the month. And I haven't set any of home projects similar to these other two areas. As we get closer to January, I will pick something to focus on. All right, and then we get into the first week of the new year, and I have a few things down as weekly action steps, and most of these, I didn't highlight yet, most of these are kind of my routine weekly tasks, especially that happen at the end of the month, which is this particular week, is the end of December, beginning of January. So I put our goal header flags down and just put my basics, month-end reports, date night, all my end of the month financials, my usual daily highlight, weekly reflection and read is on there, and then write new program. So this is the beginning of January. This will probably build out a little bit more come closer to the time, but what I realized going forward is like I said, my focus areas are going to be personal, work. Those will be my two. And then most other things will still need attention, but will be a little bit more maintenance or just smaller in degree. And that I'm okay with using these pages as like goal/dashboards. And there may be times where some of these are blank, or it's like you've seen in my previous goal videos that it's the repetitive thing every week, like date night's going to be on there every week, daily highlight. Sometimes I just like that checking off the same stuff every week. So a lot of this will, like it was last year, be incredibly repetitive. The ones that might have a little variety to them will probably be, again, personal, work, maybe fun and recreation, and that is and maybe home. But these are my big two focuses. So that is pretty much how I have so far set up my goals for 2021 in my Makse. Now, really quickly, I want to show you what I did in my Inkwell. Okay. All right. So in my Inkwell, first of all, I hate, you've heard me say this before, I hate this redesign goal page. I don't even remember what it used to look like, but it was better. I don't like, design-wise, it's very aesthetically pleasing until you write on it and then it looks like a cluster. I just don't like this writing space being all weird like this, but whatever. So for my focus, I kind of use my word or phrase of the year, which is sow and grow. And then I just put like an intention statement related to what I did in the Makse here in each of these areas. Now, obviously, Inkwell, at least the weekly planner, not the goal planner, uses different categories. So for personal, I put grow our homestead and become more self-sufficient, which equates to personal here in the Makse. Social to me is that family and relationships in Makse, and I put the same thing, build community and connections. Financial obviously transfers over directly to Makse with financial, and I put invest in our home/homestead. Home, similar to physical environment, I put make our house a home. Health, I just put maintain. Again, that is the same as in Makse. And then dream big, I just kind of put increase income. And to me, dream big is like a morph between like work, business, learning, those kinds of things. So I just put increase income. Then you have the quarterly over here. I don't mind the aesthetic of this page. I do think it works. And if I did set a few Q1 goals. So for personal, that's our homestead. We are getting our first batch of meat birds in the end of March, the beginning of April. So by the end of March, we need to have their shelter built and feeders built, all that stuff. So we need to be prepared to get them when they arrive. Their brooder set up and all that. For social, I did not put a quarter goal this again feels like it's hard to put like a SMART goal for. I don't want to be like, have had made 5 new friendships or something like that. So I don't really know what I'm going to put there. Maintain health, I just transferred that because just keep up our regular routine. Dream big. I put by Q1, I would like to get more gig work, new gig work, find somebody that needs some kind of contract work. I feel like I'm at a point now where I could have multiple contract work jobs going on in addition to the print shop. They don't have to be like tons and tons of hours a week, obviously. So that would be the end goal, maybe by the end of the first quarter, to have found something else, in addition to what I'm already doing. Home, I didn't put anything yet because I don't know yet what I want our main project to be for Q1. And then similar to Makse, I put we need to, for financial, open up our new bank accounts and start prepping our tax documents for tax season. So that is how I used that. And then I went into the mission board. I did use our mission board hexes because I do like when these coordinate through the whole planner. So, you know, we have the goal colors so that you can cover the mission board with the goal coordinating colors. Because you haven't done too much here. Homestead, again, I'm leaving that blank because I don't know what our January project was. It's the same thing I did in Makse. Same with home, I left that blank. For social, I did put one friend date. I probably could put that in the Makse as well. Health is maintained. Money is in January. We obviously need to have our new bank accounts open. Dream big, I put similar to Makse, the list of skills and work that I love. I do want to research for work some agile marketing information. And then I want to take, like I said, in the Makse, one email, the Klaviyo class. So you can see there's a lot of overlap. Like you could use the Makse system and pare it down and consolidate the 8 categories into 6. Or let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Honestly, because now when you get our little hexagon things, you can do, I just thought of a sticker idea. Since there's 8 hexagons, right? 2, 4, 6, 8. We could make these the Makse Life colors as well if you wanted to use the Makse goals inside of your Inkwell. Is that a good idea? Would anybody want to do that? Let me know. Because if anybody's interested in that, that's a very easy sticker for us to launch. Anyways, but you could definitely make these 2 things work together. And the systems, like goal setting systems, are all very similar. It's really right about like getting clear on what you really want, making sure the things that you are after align with your values and intentions, and then setting bigger goals and breaking them down into little pieces. So that's kind of the process. The one thing I've always said that this is not my, you don't see this is my next video stuff. The thing I've always said in Inkwell I'd like to see would have been like maybe a built-in action step. So we had come up with this sticker last year, the year before. So I did go ahead and these little icons coordinate with the colors of the Inkwell goals. So I just broke each of those things down one step further. Some of them, like let's see, for health I just put write new program, that's maintain health. For dream big, make the lists. For week 1, maybe I need to open new bank accounts. I put gather bank info, and that's as far as I got because again, I don't have goals set yet for a few of these categories, but you can see how this whole thing works, going from big goals, breaking them down to small goals. You know, and I feel again that compared to last year, I feel a bigger sense of clarity than I did before about my purpose, about where I want to invest my time and energy. I've got a better sense of my like mental capacity and energy, stress thresholds, how to balance those things, and much more clarity on my work and learning and the path I want to go down there. So yeah, okay, that was a 40-minute video on goal setting. I think that's everything. Let me know if you guys have questions about my process. If you have questions about goal setting, let me know what planner and process you're gonna use. And you don't have to have a million goals, guys. And remember, you can like totally go through this process and pick like, which area am I not doing so great at? I'm gonna focus on that one area this year. And you'd be surprised if you go all in on one area, how that unlocks progress in other areas. Because again, everything is interconnected. So don't feel like you have to do something in every area. I think what I've noticed is because in years prior, I've spent time developing routines and lifestyles that support a lot of automation in these other areas, that it allows me the time, energy, and mental capacity to focus more intently on different things, if that makes sense. So I guess my thing, like you always hear me say, I'm a huge fan of less is more and essentialism and less but better, and just really reining in what's truly important and not overwhelming yourself. You know, last year I looked at these things and I felt like, holy crap, like this is a lot to focus on, and what the heck, and my attention is in too many places. And these lists look big, but a lot of these are just tasks, right? That are part of bigger things of like make more money and build the homestead. But these other things, there's not that much. And these are just kind of ongoing intentional areas that need attention, but they're not as demanding. So balance all of those pieces so you're not like setting yourself up for failure, if that makes sense. Okay, we're pushing 45 minutes. YouTube's gonna like take forever to upload this video. Let me know if you guys have questions. The next video I'm going to show you how I kind of am prepping to figure out how I want to use my planner for next year. And that is all. Comment below. Let me know how you're doing. And get ready for 2021, my friends. Okay, bye guys.